Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the Railway, and today I really just fancied doing a good old-fashioned style running session, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So I've chosen the theme of Great Western locomotives, and I've got a nice selection of locos to show you today, and in fact I've already enjoyed myself massively just going through them and deciding which ones I'm going to show you. So I've got 6, well actually 7, because we're going to be doing one double header. 7 locomotives, all of them are very different, but all of them are lovely in their own different ways, so I hope you're really going to enjoy it. Like I say, I've enjoyed myself already, so I'm happy as far as I'm concerned. But let's get started, and we're going to the turntable to begin with, where the first locos are waiting. So here we are then, and blimey, isn't that a beautiful view already? 3 very gorgeous Great Western locomotives. But the first one I'm going to be running is this one at the back, one that I've not run too much this year since I got it, but it is very, very beautiful, as you can tell. So she is actually going right to the inside line where she's got this little goods train. She's only a little engine, so I've just given her a little train to match. But of course, first of all, we've got to get her onto the turntable and get her where she needs to be. So let's do that now then. Let me get the turntable going. There we go, and very carefully let's put her onto the turntable bridge. Nice and steadily does it. There we go, very nice. And let's get the turntable round again then. There we go, and let me just move the camera so that you can see her go back off again. There we go, nice and steadily does it again. I mean, this loco is so controllable. I mean, aside from her beautiful looks, she just runs so well. Look at that. Alright, let's get her off there. Let's keep going. Oh, look at that. Okay, I've got to change some points then, so let's get her where she needs to be. Okay, so she's got to go across these express points, which I'm sure are terrifying things for a loco her size. But never mind, there we go, that's those open. Let's see if she can get across them nicely. She's not cut out or anything, I've not had to touch her. She's just come straight round. Okay, I'm going to have to stop her now then. Well, more like now. There we go, and shut these points again. That point is already open, which it shouldn't really be, but there we go. Okay, is that ready to go? I think so. Figure out which way she's going on this controller. Oh, she needs to come backwards. Shove the reverser into reverse, and there we go. And now she's on the middle line. Wait, no, she's going to be on the inside line. There we go. And I'll let her come past you nice and slowly so you can see the cab. And then, of course, I'll move the camera so that you can see the coupling. Such an impressive performance already. Okay, let's move that camera. Can't tell whether she's got it. No, she hasn't. The hooks are at slightly different lengths, so you've just got to lift them in. Well, I was about to say what a perfect coupling that was, but that isn't strictly true anymore. Anyway, let's get her started then. And I'll give you a little bit of history on the Dean Goods locomotives. So here we go. Little goods train, which has just got some pork wagons, 5 of those. A couple of empty wagons at the back, which she's obviously taking to a depot or something to be filled. And a brake van just there. Okay, enjoy her. So first a few shout outs then. Hello to Midland Compound 1000, Nab Station and Daniel Vlogs 264. Hello to everybody, and thank you very much for getting in touch. Anyway, the Dean Goods, also known as the GWR 2301 class, were introduced in 1883 to the design of William Dean for goods work on the railway. The class was produced for just over 15 years, and in that time 260 were built. The class served for several years, and several were sent to France during the First World War, and even some ended up in Salonika. By the time the Second World War broke out, many of the Dean Goods locos had been withdrawn, only to be dragged back into service when they were requisitioned by the War Department. 54 of the class survived until nationalisation in 1948, but only 1 of the class was preserved, and sadly the remainder were scrapped. Well, that was absolutely fantastic. She's just such a good runner. So I'm going to bring her to a little stop there just so she can rest for a second. There we go, and she's going to be running again in 2 locos time. But first of all, back to the turntable and I will show you the second loco of today. Okay, we're back, and the next one I'm going to show to you today is this one, and this is a classic Great Western 460 design, and it is of course the Manor class in this lovely Great Western green, as you'd probably expect. So let's get her onto the turntable bridge then, and she's going to be coupling up to these sort of old-fashioned triangle Great Western coaches, but I always think they suit the 460s very nicely, just like they did with the original triangle Albert Hall, of course. So let's get the turntable around then, and I believe she's got to turn right the way around, so I hope she doesn't get motion sick. Right, let's see if she's going the right way. Might help if I turn my little switch. There we go. Perfect. Oh, she's a bit more lively than the Dean Goods, isn't she? Okay, let's turn this one around. Okay, that's where she needs to be. Let's reverse her off there then. As slowly as possible. Perhaps not quite that slowly though. Whoa. Yep, she's still alright. Keep her going. Nice and steady, of course, because these engines are a little bit happier going forwards, obviously. Right, and the points are all still set, so she should cruise right round to the middle line. Nice and steady over the express points then. Past the Dean Goods. Oh, has she come off? No, she hasn't come off. Oh, you're just going to get her in shot there at the top. Okay, has she coupled? Oh, at least we got a good coupling that time. Right, I've got to switch these points before she gets back to them, and of course switch the controllers because she's now stopped. There we go. Here she comes then, the Manor class, and I'm going to keep her running. I'll speed her up some and I'll give you a little bit of history on them, but there go the coaches. Nice colour, aren't they, those? Okay, here we go then with a little history on the Manor class. The Manors, or the 7800 class, were introduced in 1938 and closely resembled a lighter version of the earlier Grange class. This lighter weight meant that they could cover areas with more severe weight restrictions and areas where the larger halls and granges were much too heavy to cover. The class were reportedly inadequate runners to begin with though, but the faults were worked out whilst the class was in service. And I've read a few bits and pieces which suggest that the class might have been recalled and redesigned if it wasn't for the restrictions of the Second World War. In total, 30 Manors were produced for mixed traffic, and their withdrawal took place between 1963 and 1965. 21 were scrapped while 9 remain in preservation, which is an excellent healthy number, of course. Well, once again, she is a superb runner, and I'm just going to stop her there for a little rest. Not too sure why I chose the Manor for this one, because of course when it comes to 460s and the Great Western, there is a lot of choice with the castles, the kings, the halls, the saints, the counties, you know, the list is almost endless. But I think this one is just a nice model, you know, it runs very well, and it's not one that I run all that often. So there it is, the Manor class. Okay, well there's still an empty track on the outside line, so I'll show you what's going to be running on there. Okay, so the last logo for this first half is this beautiful 440 County class. It's a Hornby Railroad one, but I've always absolutely loved them. And there's a little bit of a surprise with this one for you, so I'll tell you the story on it. I've got a friend here on YouTube called Peter Shaw, and he's got one of these 440 County classes. But he really likes digital sound locomotives. He loves having DCC sound. And so into his Railroad 440 County class, he had a special sound decoder installed. And he's shown that on his YouTube channel, and you can find him. He's called Peter Shaw. And I always thought it was superb. It just sounded so good, and it really brought, for some reason, this particular loco to life. amazingly well. So I always liked the idea of having sound in these. And basically what happened just before the summer, a few months ago, I had a customer who sent me loads of his locomotives to service and put decoders into. But for some reason, his controller, I don't know which controller it was, but I think it was a Gauge Master one, he said his controller didn't work very well with Hornby locomotives, especially the TTS locomotives. So all of his Hornby decoders he wanted removing and putting, I think, Hatton's ones in instead. So while I was doing that, he said, and if you want to make me an offer for any of the decoders, please do. So I took that on board. And there was one loco, it was one of the Hornby 2Ps with TTS sound. And of course, with it being a Hornby decoder, he wanted it taken out and replacing with a Hatton's one. So I said, can I knock 30 quid off your bill, for example, and take this decoder and put it in one of my locos? And he agreed to it. So I took it out and I put it into this county class instead. So this one now has sound. Let me turn it on. But obviously this is the sound of a 2P locomotive, which is a similar sort of size. It's also a 440, but it's LMS, not Great Western. But to me it actually sounds pretty good. So you guys are going to have to let me know what you think on this. Is it ultra unrealistic or is it acceptable? So here's a few whistles. There we go. Got 2 bursts. Yeah, so sounds good to me anyway. So let's get her started. Let me give her a little bit of a shunting speed. There we go. And she's going to go right over the turntable. Hopefully without derailing. So I think it sounds pretty good. And just the fact that it's got chuffing, to me, brings it to life very well. There she goes. Very nice. Right, I'm going to bring her to a stop. I'm going to shut this point, and she's actually got some Cornish Riviera coaches, as you can see here, and they are lovely things. So she's going to couple to those, and then we'll get her started. Here she goes. See if I can slow her down a touch. Oh, I slowed her down a bit too much. She cut out. She needs to warm up actually. She'll run a lot better once she's had a chance to. There we go. Stop her there. Turn the camera a touch. So there we go, the county class. This one is County of Devon, coupled up to her Cornish Riviera Limited train. So let me set her forwards. Let's have a bit of a whistle. There we go, very nice. And let's get her at a bit of a faster speed now. And as always, here's a little bit of history on the County 440 locos. And I'll let you see these coaches go by. The County class, or 3800 class, was designed by George Jackson Churchward and introduced in 1904. Designed for express passenger work and produced for 8 years up until 1912, a total of 40 were built in total. The Counties proved to be the last 440 design used by the Great Western Railway, or the last one to be designed at least. Yet sadly all of them were scrapped, and the final withdrawal took place in 1933, so way before the end of the steam era. Alright then, well that is the first 3 locomotives done, and so I'm going to let them all run together. Now a few people have been asking to see locos go at speed, so I'm not going to disappoint. I'm going to shove these into express mode, so let's do that with the County first. get them going really nice and fast. And same with the Manor, there we are. I'm not going to go too crazy with the Dean Goods though, because she's quite a delicate one, so I'm going to just get her a little bit faster than she was before, but that's probably still quite realistic. So enjoy this and then we'll move on. Blimey, that county's quick. So is the Manor. She's got a real good bit of acceleration to her as well. Whoa, look at that. It sounds great as well. Yep, this is a good idea actually. I should do it more often. It's crazy. Because I always tend to stick to reasonably realistic speeds, so it's quite scary seeing them go so quick actually. Where's the Manor? Broom Manor this one is, I don't think I said that. B-R-O-O-M-E I believe. Whew. Just a blur, isn't it? Bless her. The Dean Goods really isn't up to speeds like that, but that's okay. She looks just fine going slowly, I think. Very nice. Okay folks, hopefully you like that. I'm going to take these off and get the next 3 ready to run, so be right back in just a second and I will show you what is coming up next. Okay, so I've managed to get those back into their sidings without incident. That means we're ready to move on. So we're going back to the inside line now with this lovely 440, and this one is the Earl class. Now, even though this one looks a lot more old-fashioned than the County, it is actually a newer locomotive. They were built quite a while after the Counties. Now, I said a few minutes ago that the Counties were the final design of 440 for the Great Western Railway. So that made me sort of panic and wonder, is that fact not correct? But I think what I should have said is that it was the final new design for the Great Western Railway, because even though these Duke dogs were built after them, I think they were based on older designs, weren't they? They were made up of older locomotives, the Bulldog, for example, and the Duke, I think. So that's probably why it is. Anyway, she, as you can see, is going to be pulling some Great Western coaches, just 3 of those, because she is actually very powerful. She can pull 5 easily, but I just thought it would be nice to have a bit of a smaller passenger train this time. So let's open that point. There we go, and let's get her out of there, shall we? The lovely Duke dog. What number's this one? 3214, I think, if my eyesight serves me correctly. Let's get her going then. Such a beauty, this one. Look at that. What a good performer. I heard a bit of clacking over the points, but I think she's okay. Okay, bring her back forwards then. There we go. Right, I'm going to get her at a decent passenger speed then. There we go, and I'm going to give you some more history on her, of course. So here we go then with a little bit of info on the Duke dog, or the Earl class. The Earl class was introduced to the Great Western in 1936 to the design of Charles Collett. They earned the nickname Duke dogs because they were built using a combination of the old Duke class boilers and the old Bulldog class frames. The class performed passenger duties well into the BR era, and some remained in service until the 1950s. In total, 30 were produced, all during the late 30s, even though the design, well, they were designed to look a lot older than that, I think. But all but 1 was scrapped, and the remaining example is running number 9017. Well, hopefully you'll agree that she is just a superb locomotive. That's a Bachmann one, and I'm super happy with her. Bring her to a stop there. Don't want her wearing out, do we? There we go. Okay, so there she is then, the Duke dog, or the Earl class. Very, very lovely, that one, and she's going to run, as always, in just a second. But there's 2 more classes to show you still today, so let's get to those. And I hope you'll enjoy those as well, of course. Okay, so here is the double header I promised you, and here we have two 43XX locomotives, very lovely 260s, and as you can see together they're going to be pulling what is a very big train of wagons. I've got all of my ocean wagons on there, as well as the Arnold Sands one at the back there. So yep, as you can see both of these are slightly different. The one at the front is in a very old-fashioned, very lovely Great Western livery, and that one is running number 4331, and then the one at the back is in a BR livery, and as you can see it's unlined, which in my opinion is a little bit less nice, but still absolutely gorgeous, don't get me wrong. And her running number is 6384. So I'm just going to make sure these points are set, and yes, I think they are. So let me check which direction these are set to go in, and we'll get them out. And as you might guess, these are going to the middle line, so it's going to be a little bit of fun on the points, because this is a big train, and big trains are a little bit more dodgy than smaller ones. But yeah, I can't put it off any longer, so let's give this a try. The 43XX, both Bachmann these. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Brilliant start. Okay, here we go. Nice and steadily does it, just while we get those wagons moving. Okay, bit more juice. Turn the camera slowly as well. Right, there's the killer point. If they all get over there, then we should be okay, because they've only got to deal with express points after that. Right, I've just opened the express points, so very soon the engines are going to be going over those, but I thought we'd linger here at these points, because if there's going to be a derailment, I want to catch it on camera. But we're almost there. Well, I forgot to mention that these have got a nice towed brake van on the back as well. So as you can see, there it is. Right, let's see how the front of the train's getting on, shall we? Shut this point. Well, it looks like the engines have cleared the express points long ago. But the wagons are still trying to traverse them. Oh, we've got a derailment. It's a good thing I spotted that. I don't know why it did that though. It seemed to derail before it reached the points. I don't know, bizarre. Okay, I'm going to shut these points then. In fact, I better not. I better turn them off first, because they'll cut out if I just shut the points without swapping controllers. Okay, let's get the other controller going. There we go. A little bit faster for them then. And here's a little bit of history on the 43XX. So the 43XX was also known as the GWR 4300 class. These were extremely numerous, and 342 were built over 21 years between 1911 and 1932 for mixed traffic duties. The class was designed to utilise standard parts used in previous Churchwood locomotives, including the same cylinders as the Saint, the wheels of the 5100 class, and Churchwood's number 4 boiler. As you can imagine, these were extremely successful, and thus so many were produced, of course. Withdrawal began in the late 1930s, when parts began to be reused for the new Grange and Manor classes. The rest began to be withdrawn just after nationalisation in 1948, although some did actually survive right up until 1964. In total though, only 2 survived in preservation. Alright then, time to bring this lovely pair to a halt. There we go. And as you might know, the 43XX, or especially the lined version, is one of my favourite models of all time. So I had to run that one, and they're going to run again in just a second. But of course, there is still one more loco to show today. So let me head over to the other sidings and I will show you it. Okay, and I've picked this last one because it is so unusual, and it's also the oldest loco by far that I'm showing today. This is a Triang Lord of the Isles locomotive. And it's so unusual because it is a single wheeler, which means it's only got one set of driving wheels, and you can see them, they're gigantic, just in the middle of the thing there. So yeah, this is Lord of the Isles, and she's going to be pulling some Great Western coaches. Well, they're not actually, I think they're actually American coaches, which have been dressed up to look like Great Western coaches. But 3 of those, so that's quite a bit for a single wheeler to pull, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, she'll be okay. So let me get this point, there we go, and let's see how she runs then, Lord of the Isles. Struggling a bit. She got there in the end. Okay, here's a little bit of history on them then. Lord of the Isles then was part of the Great Western 3031 class and was also known as the Dean Single or the Achilles class. These were fairly early locomotives built during the 1890s, I think, to the design of William Dean. They were known for several characteristic features including single-driven axles, large domes and attractive paint schemes. The class was initially very successful and they reached quite incredible speeds for the time. However, they soon became outdated during the early 1900s and plans were made to rebuild the class. However, a few design limitations meant that rebuilding never took place and instead they were gradually withdrawn. Sadly, they were all scrapped quite early on during the 1910s and 1920s, I think, but sadly none of the originals survive in preservation. Okay then, so that is all of the locos I'm going to be showing today. So now all that's left to do is get them all going together. So let's start the Duke Dog, or the Earl. There she goes, what a beauty. And of course the two 43XX locomotives with their big good strain. And enjoy this one last running session. And what a good day it's been today. Yep, thoroughly enjoyed that. I do like me some Great Western locos. And of course I hope you do as well. Whoa, she's quick. Anyway, you've now seen all of the locos for today, so as I always do, I'm going to put a poll up so that you can tell me which has been your favourite. Though of course do bear in mind I can only put 5 answers in there annoyingly, so I will have to group 2 together. But nonetheless, it'll be interesting to see which one comes out on top. So don't forget to vote. Blimey, but that put the wind up the 43XXs, didn't it? Thing is, she has to go quick because as you saw when she was running before, that single wheeler really slows down on Gordon's Hill, and if she wasn't going that quick she'd just stop because she only just makes it. But she's okay, she's just about doing it. I think for me today it's been a toss-up between the 43XX as my favourite, or maybe even the County class, because it's now got the sound. I think that one has got into my good books a little bit. There we go, got a nice shot of the big long straight here with Lord of the Isles thundering down it. Look at that. And we've got the 43XX doubleheader coming much more calmly down the line, but of course they've got power to spare, so they don't have to race around to keep themselves going. And they are very, very powerful, even on their own, but together, as you can imagine. Yep, well, no wheel slip at all from them anyway, so I dread to imagine how much they could pull if I put them, you know, really put them to the test. There you go, Lord of the Isles again. Good classic, that one. And just look at all those wagons. Alright then everybody, well that's just about going to do it for today. Like I said, I tried to get a really nice variety today, so hopefully there's been something in this for everybody, and something that everybody will have enjoyed seeing. And of course, if you did enjoy the video, please feel free to leave it a like or even a comment, because that really does help me out. And if you'd like to, also feel free to check me out on Facebook or Twitter, the links for those are down below. But for now, I think that's all I've got to say. Hope you've enjoyed it, of course. Thank you very much for your company, and I will see you all very soon. Cheers everybody.